dredging in Barnstable Harbor and an environmentally friendly change on this episode of Barnstable Today. It's Wednesday, July 18th, 2012. I'm Sarah Colvin. This Friday, Massachusetts Energy and Environmental Affairs Secretary Richard J. Sullivan and U.S. EPA New England Region Administrator Kurt Spalding will be at Azleton Park in Hyannis to celebrate the approval of two new no-discharge zones in Massachusetts. One of those sites is the South Cape Cod and the Islands site. Recreational and commercial vessels must now store sewage on board and have it pumped out later on instead of simply discharging it into the sea. Cape Cod Bay is already designated as a no-discharge zone. The public is welcome to Friday's event. It begins at 11 a.m. at Azleton Park here in Hyannis. Staying on the water, plans to dredge Barnstable Inner Harbor are moving forward. John Juros of the Department of Public Works and consultant Christine Clare were before the Conservation Commission on Tuesday with plans. Clare outlines the project.
The project itself is essentially a maintenance dredging project. It consists of 3 areas of dredging within the Inner Harbor. Area 1 is the yellow area, which is known as the town basin. This area will be dredged to its historic depth of -6 below mean low water with a 1-foot over dredge. And the volume within the basin area to be removed is about 7,800 cubic yards. The yellow area was last dredged by the town in 1994, and we're proposing to basically redredge in the same limits and depths as the town did in 1994. The second area that we're looking to dredge is this blue area here, which is area 3. It's kind of out of sequence, but that's the existing 60-foot navigation channel. That area was last dredged in 1994 as well by the town, and a portion of it, pretty much to this area here, was actually dredged as late as 2008 as part of the entrance channel dredging that was done. So what we're trying to do is connect pretty much the yellow area to our new access channel area shown in orange. The blue area has a volume of about 1,500 cubic yards. Again, we'll be dredging to the historic depth of -6 below mean low water, excuse me, with with an additional 1-foot over dredge. Blue and yellow are both maintenance approved, previously dredged areas. The orange area is our new dredging that we're proposing, and that will consist of an access channel to the much troubled access point at Blish Point boat ramp. We're proposing to dredge about 370 cubic yards. Essentially, the footprint will slope from the bottom of the ramp and transition into the existing channel, and it will match its 6-foot depth. This area here, again, is improvement dredging. The total cubic yardage of the entire project is about 9,700 cubic yards.
Claire says there are 3 different ways in which the dredging could be done.
What we're looking to get approved from you folks are various methods and disposal sites, disposal options. This is a fast-track project by the town. The town has received state grant money. 75% of this project will be funded through state money, and the town will provide a 25% match. What we're proposing is to either mechanically dredge this, and that operation would consist of a barge-mounted excavator or a crane with a scow next to it, which the scow will contain the sediments. They could be dewatered on the scow, or we could dewater them up on land, and then they'd be hauled off to an upland site. We're looking at the Bourne landfill. Some of this material, oops, I'm clipped here. Some of this material, based on our testing, has shown an area. You can see this crosshatch area. This area has been identified to have high pH levels, which isn't unusual for a marina facility. And it will require disposal at a landfill. It can't be beneficially reused. Whereas the rest of the project, the material that we're looking at seems to meet the criteria for beneficial reuse, either as daily cover at a landfill, or it could be used, hopefully, to go forth with construction of the shooting range berms over at the West Barnstable shooting range. So from a mechanical dredge perspective, the material would be dewatered, trucked off-site, either to the landfill or the shooting range. We also are looking at the Child's site over in Dennis, which has historically accepted clean material as well. And those are the 3 off-site areas that we're looking for disposal. This project could also be hydraulically dredged. And if we hydraulically dredge it, a hydraulic dredge would come in and literally pump the material to either one of these designated dewatering areas. This area here is the grassy parking lot area that the town owns. And this area here, we have permission from the state to use the Blish Point boat ramp parking lot. The dewatering activities with a hydraulic dredge, because we have very limited area, will either be done with a mechanical belt press. That system is a very small, compact system of a series of belt presses. The hydraulic dredge pumps the material via a pipeline into the belt press. It's treated chemically. It squeezes the water out. The water returns back into the harbor, meeting water quality standards. And then the pressed material, which it basically looks like just sheets of peat moss like you get in a bag. And that goes on a conveyor belt right into a truck, and it's hauled off to our site. If we were to do a mechanical belt press operation, we'd only need to use one of these dewatering areas. It's a very compact operation. The other technology that we're looking at is a geotube. I think you folks had an opportunity to see that out on a site last winter. It'd be a similar operation where we'd have to use both of these areas because of the volume we need to actually put in there. The material would be pumped into these huge socks, for a lack of a better word. They're chemically treated, and over time, the water seeps out. It's clean enough to return back to the harbor. And once the material's dried in the bags are cut open, material's put in a truck, and it's trucked off-site.
A letter from the State Department of Marine Fisheries was brought to the table.
The recommendation that it's for our consideration, they recommend a no in-water silt-producing work be performed from February 1st to June 30th to protect winter flounder and horseshoe crab spawning and development. Now, I know that would seriously impact the project and you need the time, but if you could, like in other dredging projects, have siltation curtains in place prior to this so that you could prevent any damage to the spawning areas.
To answer that question, the time of year restriction that they're referring to in that letter is for the winter flounder habitat. We don't plan on dredging between February 1st or June 30th.
Okay.
Primarily, we've got the boating season to also contend with, so certainly we're not looking to consider dredging within that window to begin with. We'd be looking to dredge in the fall through to the end of January 31st would be the last day that we would expect to be out there dredging.
Okay.
And finally, it was time for a vote.
We're ready for a motion to approve this project as submitted with some special conditions. One, we'll be making a finding that the improvement dredging serves a public purpose. We'll be approving all the options in consultation with staff, and we're requesting that you provide a graphic for the Cape Cod Bay disposal site.
So moved. And doesn't it include, the order will include a post-dredge?
That's all part of the,
standard.
that's standard.
Yeah, that's
So we have a
okay.
motion, do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? It's approved.
There are still other permits and steps to take before that project can move forward. You can watch the entire Conservation Commission meeting online at town.barnstable.ma.us. Well, the town of Barnstable now has in hand a $50,000 grant that will help fund repairs to the historic Custom House, also known as the Trazer Museum, in Barnstable Village. The grant is given by the Massachusetts Historical Commission. Town Council accepted that grant on July 12th. Planned improvements include the restoration and replacement of windows, cast iron trim, masonry repointing, and flashing replacement. With Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Colvin.